So I think we're live. The numbers are going up.
Yeah,
I can't see myself.
so yeah.
Oh wow. It's being that. Jeez. That puts play to that answer then. Um. Did that actually freeze? I don't know. Is anybody out there in YouTube land that can see us? Please tell us.
I mean, I've got a screen in front of me, so that should tell you something.
No, but is the image of us coming through? Because on my end, it's just an endless sort of five
Yeah, it looks
second.
fine.
Okay. So I have no clue as to what the screen quality is. So
It's tolerable.
yeah. So yeah, this has come out of Owen, I guess, being stir crazy.
Yeah, it's just like, I mean, I have not been tuned in to WWE, and God, it's been a long time, probably since the last time we did a show. And then the other night, on a whim, I decided to tune in to Raw, and I'll never forgive myself. As you guys probably know by looking at what I'm shamelessly wearing, basically, I will let you know that I have not stopped following All Elite Wrestling. I've watched since day one. I even remember watching the beginning days of AEW while I was waiting for going back on set for Halloween Horror Nights last year. So yeah, I am 100% on top of what's going on in AEW, and I'm slowly but surely getting my way into Game Changer Wrestling. Which back when it was Jersey Championship Wrestling, it was kind of something I wasn't even really following, wasn't on my radar whatsoever. But then out of nowhere, we had the infamous match between John Zandig and Joey Janela, and the rest is history.
Yeah, from that point, Janela's career sort of went crazy with his booking as well. So
Exactly. And look what he is now. He's on national television with a great contract that he definitely deserves, and he still can do GCW on the.
and talk about his dick and do social distance matches.
God, I want to talk about that match so bad tonight. To the shock of absolutely no one, I definitely did watch the other night. So we're going to talk about the Acid Cup later tonight.
We
I
talk.
guess we'll just talk about the elephant in the room first. Ashley's still watching WWE, so
Wow.
I guess we have to talk about that.
The interesting thing is that there are positives to it at the minute.
Yeah, that's what I'm
In
hearing.
the last few months, it has sort of just began to sort of turn. Um, the big issue though is that thing that we just have to call the pandemic, because if we say it by its name, whoop, demonetized. You can't say the V word. Demonetized.
Vince, same
I
thing.
mean, yeah, maybe.
Same thing.
Con- considering how WWE keeps referring to it as the crazy situation.
No, I have a problem with that. Crazy situation is booing the faces and cheering the heels in Toronto, Canada. This isn't a crazy situation.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be something else you can call it. But at this point, I just want to get back to normal as quick as possible. And the only way I could think of to do that is coming here on a Sunday night and talking wrestling with you.
Oh, Ian just talking wrestling. That's why it's titled The Weekly Catch-Up. We'll sort of talk about other things that sort of cross into our stuff, you know. The thing I wanted to talk about might be also something to get AJ on with, but it's too short notice to be able to sort of really do that and whatever. So
He's also filming and sleeping, so that's probably not going to happen.
that's a fair point.
He hasn't slept in about 24 hours.
But certainly from your aspect as your previous work before you moved, I'm intrigued about some things. But we'll get to it. So yeah,
We can talk about that.
The Mania front. So it went from it's happening, to it's not happening in Tampa, it's happening at the Performance Center. To it's going to be not one night at the Performance Center, it's going to be 2 nights. To we're taping it this week. So
see, another thing too, I know it's all about the money in the situation and all the things I've been listening to lately. Obviously, there's no surprise. I'm still listening to Uncle Dave. The thing is, when it comes down to it, the tacky merchandise just makes me cringe. I wasn't there. No. Yeah. And I think Rondo, with his T-shirts being sold out of the back of a Toyota Corolla, would probably tell you that shirt has that much quality to it. I think Chuggo should be wearing that shirt, Ashley.
Oh, come on. I mean,
Rob Gronkowski is a putz. I don't care how over he is. He is an idiot.
When he showed up on SmackDown and did that dance in front of nobody, I was like, oh no.
Him and Mojo basically epitomize how much I hate LMFAO.
You wanted to make a good impression to all the people watching, because it's not like they can do much else.
No, they really can't.
At this current time.
Including, I don't know, gasp, change the hard cam.
Oh, we'll get to that.
God, it's like a school play.
No, but just the whole Gronk, it's mainly the dance and just doing what he did. It's just like there's a difference. There's a difference between that making me laugh and Asuka doing random Japanese crap on commentary.
I was so lost with that kind of stuff. I really was, honestly. And I'm telling you right now, going back to Gronkowski, I don't watch sports as it's well known on this network.
Wow.
And when I saw him show up at the only WrestleMania that I've ever attended, I was very agitated because I hate Mojo Rawley too. So this is like the bane of my existence rolled into one.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope someone who has no care about keeping their job just leaks everything so we find out what's going on. Because I'll tell you right now, come the 1st of next month, when I really make my final decision if I'm going to watch this thing or not, I'm probably going to say no.
Wow.
And ESPN showing old WrestleManias does not help.
Yeah, ESPN showing WrestleMania 30. Oh, wait, that was a good one.
And Ashley is on silent.
Is it 32 next week?
Or yep, 33? Ashley just totally lost sound.
Is it 32 or 33 next week?
Ashley has no sound still.
What the hell?
I'm waiting for sound to verify.
The sound coming through, but he can't hear me.
Lips.
I know.
I don't know if any of you girls and girls, wow, guys and girls out there can read lips or not.
You can't hear me.
I cannot hear you. No, I cannot.
But my sound is coming through on the stream.
I don't know. It's not working.
Hang up. Call back.
Hang up. Hang up, call back. All right.
This is live internet, folks. You've been warned.
Almost makes me want to just start over again.
No. Fuck it. We'll do it live. Oh, we just got demonetized. Shit. Coronavirus.
God dang it. I like how I became Laura Barnes on the screen for a second there when I just had
Yeah.
to click off momentarily.
We'll have to, keep an eye on whatever's. Is it 32 that's next week? I can't remember.
I don't care.
I can't remember if it's 32 or
I don't.
33.
I know they're not showing my Mania.
I know they're showing 35 on WrestleMania Sunday.
Because it rolls right into the actual broadcast of
Yeah, and there seems to
the
be
pre-taped
conflicting. There
WrestleMania.
seems to be conflicting word as to whether that second night of 36 will be on ESPN as well, which feels good for the people that have got the network. Also, how the hell are you going to do this on pay-per-view now?
See, a lot of people are thinking that it's going to be we're going to charge. Let's say we charge $80 for the combo, like $40 a night to roll it in, and you get both nights for like $75.
Yeah,
Who's going to
but
pay these prices?
that the problem there is, I mean, as it stands, we've got 9 matches.
Jeez.
Let's say
Crazy.
it's 12. That's 6 matches on each one.
Right.
Brock, looking through the list, Brock Drew, yes. Ripley and Charlotte, yes. Becky and Shayna, kind of. But I'm not fully on that sort of hype train yet. Goldberg and Roman,
It needs more time.
Cena and Wyatt, yes. Undertaker and AJ, yes, because I am intrigued as to how that'll go and what will happen. Owens and Rollins, obviously, because it's Kevin Steen versus Tyler Black. And considering how Ring of Honor was back in the day, it might be somewhat closer to what they're used to rather than being in a big stadium. So
Very
that could bring
accurate.
out the best of them. The 6-pack challenge with Bayley defending
Ugh.
against everybody that isn't Carmella. Carmella gets thrown to the trash.
I mean,
Instead,
I'm okay.
Tamina comes in because
I don't like either one, so I'm okay with both of them being skipped. But I mean, I honestly, at this point, Ashley, I think the best thing you could possibly do right now is just blow through WrestleMania and make SummerSlam a bigger deal.
well, the word is the Hall of Fame is going to be
Yeah.
SummerSlam weekend.
And that makes sense too, especially with Bulldog going in. That makes a whole lot of sense.
Also, can get Liger coming out to sunnier climes, hopefully.
Yeah, just keep Sonny Ono away. We're fine.
Yeah. I don't think he deals with him anymore.
No, no Disney trip for you.
He's got his own YouTube channel anyway, so.
God.
Liger's YouTube channel. Also, Takahashi, Hiromu has got a YouTube channel. He hasn't put anything up yet.
Are we gonna get the adventures of Daryl walking through Japan? Please.
Who knows? Hiromu's got ideas. It may be happening. And the only other confirmed match is Miz and Morrison versus either New Day or the Usos. I wouldn't be surprised if it became a triple threat.
Yeah, double pinfall leading to a 3-way. I could see that.
And then the one that isn't confirmed yet, but will probably get added within the next 24, 48 hours, will be the last man standing with Edge and Orton.
I can't see that taking place at the Performance Center. I think that's going to be one of the remote locations.
All we know is it's being filmed this week,
Wednesday and Thursday.
apparently. Which the problem with that situation is, of course, that means Goldberg and Roman, if they're on Friday SmackDown and they haven't taped that, they'll be doing it live from the Performance Center, even though, like, 24 or 48 hours before, they filmed the title change hands or not change hands.
Pretty much.
Which is sort of awkward.
It's WCW worldwide tapings.
It's Kane the Undertaker, back from Survivor Series.
Remember in Foley's book when he was talking about how that Paul Orndorff and Paul Roma had already won the tag team titles, and they were talking about being champions, and they were talking about defeating Cactus Jack and Max Payne when they haven't even had the match yet. Yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, that is indeed a thing. Um, NXT, I don't even know what's going on with that. This week's NXT was obviously. I mean, if Takeover is going to be somehow incorporated into the TV broadcast over the next few weeks, they needed a show to sort of build up hype. The guy, of course, that's lost in the shuffle is Balor because
his match can't happen.
Yeah, because Volta can't get out of Germany. And in turn, it can't happen in Dublin because Volta can't get out of Germany. Because I think they've stopped travel until the end of April.
Something like that.
At least in Germany itself, so. And that, that's the WWE side of things. AEW is not getting away with it either now, of course. They did a pretty good concept of a show, although having the sort of roster there, sort of being relatively close to each other, isn't great.
But it's relatively harmless compared to what it could be.
To some extent, but
it's more of the travel that's the problem than anything else.
Yeah.
If you want to get technical, the only people that anytime you have any sort of professional wrestling match, you're taking your literal life in your hands now. Even more so than before.
And so, obviously, the thing that's happened that was confirmed, I think, a day or two ago, Blood and Guts is TBC.
Yep. Which is fine because honestly, if they're still going to give us Dynamite, and I can see that they're going to continuously give us Dynamite, because if Daly's Place is closed to the general public and they're doing a closed set, they'll let them work as long as the area is not quarantined.
Mm-hmm.
I think, hopefully, they'll be okay. Because I know Orange County just issued a ordinance from it's 11 to 5. So I don't know how that's going to, I don't think that's going to really affect WrestleMania's taping at all, depending on how long they go. They have to be finished by 10 to make sure everybody is off the road by 11.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, we've got the altercation this week with Broken Matt Hardy and Chris Jericho, and then we've got Cody against Darby Allin, Long Day, Jimmy Havoc, which have been announced for this week's Dynamite.
I think that's the only Well, I guess there's the tease of the parking lot brawl.
I think they'll save that, honestly, because it was set up for Blood and Guts, unless they save it for another show.
Well, just looking at it, the notes that I've got from F4W is that there will be a Jericho Matt Hardy confrontation, so it might not even be a
Yep.
match.
It's not a
Uh,
match, it's a promo battle.
the parking lot brawl with the Best Friends and Lucha Brothers is set, and
Okay,
a
I didn't see that.
lumberjack match with Luchasaurus and Wardlow.
So they're keeping everything except for the actual Blood and Guts
Yeah,
match from Blood and Guts. Okay,
they're getting rid of the sort of big marquee match,
that's fair.
and obviously, it's not Death Triangle because the bastard is stuck here for the
Yep.
foreseeable future. Um, and of course, because WrestleMania is still going on, we had that giant kerfuffle over the Indies.
Yeah.
The
Almost
dilemma
everything
with
had to cancel except for GCW, and they postponed.
the dilemma is the dilemma was with the High Spots guys and WrestleCon because
Yep.
Marriott were claiming that it still could happen. Despite the
Yeah, it was
fact
bad.
Tampa basically said there can't be gatherings of more than so many people.
Right.
So even though that was there, apparently they could still have the show, which
And
seems
it took
weird.
so well, actually, it took social media to go into bat for them to eliminate that charge that Marriott was trying to get over $150,000 from them for damages that were going to happen because of WrestleCon.
Yeah, Jericho and I don't think there was anybody WWE I remember
Hmm.
sort of coming to the sort of the plate sort of thing, but it got somewhat sorted anyway. You know, so
And of course, the issue with Beyond Wrestling over the weekend too.
what was that?
I believe it's Beyond Wrestling. Again, things are kind of just jumping together because if I recall something incorrectly, my apologies for that one. With the name of the show getting changed because of WWE lawyers, with Mustafa Ali putting in money to try to help run the show, to help the boys out.
Yeah,
And then they had to change it to Warehouse Wars instead.
and then it had to be cancelled anyway
It had to
because
be
of
canceled.
everything that happened.
You got you got
Considering how many of the wrestlers in NXT and WWE have come through Beyond,
no lie.
Vince might want to sort of throw them a bone rather than have everybody turn against him.
He does not care. It is clear he does not care at all.
Braun Strowman
He
may
is
or may
so.
not have done that enough himself this week.
Oh my god. He just put his foot in his mouth, basically.
The thing is, he's sort of saying, you know, I did it to trigger you marks, and it's like, I mean, yes, but at the same time, it's like, I think it was, I don't know if it was real Will Calling or not from PW Torch that
Mhm.
said, noted that Strowman basically mentioned about the contract. Sorry, the only reason he sort of with the E is he wanted to get out of Strongman because there was no money
Right.
in it. So it was like, so you left strongman stuff to go into wrestling because it was offering you more money, yet you're having a go at these wrestling people that are trying to get a you know, aspire to be the same level as you and get to, you know,
And that's the thing.
a bigger contract.
Well, actually, that's the thing too. Don't forget, Braun Strowman didn't start out in the end. He's not he's not a property of like the power plant, or he's
No.
not a property of like the Monster Factory or anything like that. He came up, he got very lucky to be the size that he is, and he was marketable, and they gave him a contract. He also has to realize, as we all do, anyone that's been in the wrestling business at all for any amount of time will tell you this: you never know who you're going to tick off, because you never know who you're going to meet on the way back down.
Mm-hmm.
Because he won't be in WWE forever. No one is. Eventually, he'll meet those people that he wronged, and it's not going to be pretty because a lot of people still hold grudges.
That's always an issue.
Yeah, you don't bite the hand that feeds you, or the hand that will feed you one day.
The
And he went
convention
off on
hand.
Lance Archer too. Yeah, yeah. He also talking about Lance Archer is like basically biting his gimmick and everything like that. I was like, no, Lance Archer is you if it was done right. And Lance Archer doing that awesome vignette that made me feel vibes of like my old backyard wrestling days, and a little bit of No Holds Barred with Zeus's battles, and even the backyard wrestling video game for that matter.
Just seen Triple H's tweet. Just as an FYI, the entrance costume was super heavy, like 45 pounds. My legs were shot. The only reason Daniel Bryan beat me. Playing off the boxing thing of Deontay Wilder's excuse for Tyson Fury, because of course he would.
Right.
Um,
People like, I mean, it was mentioned on F4W, and I'll say, and I agree with them. WWE needs a social media manager that actually can rein in some of these people that don't know how to use social media.
which is always the issue.
But I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, I think AEW did really well with the empty arena concept. I like the idea of the gambling during the matches.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was done really well. I didn't feel like it was a quiet setting. I felt like it was like kibitzing in the background. It was just like WWE. When I watched on Raw, I felt like I was watching Tough Enough.
So I just looked at the irony of Rand Paul being the only person voting against the coronavirus
Old school
funding bill
independent wrestling
to.
show.
So I'm just. Well, because it's to do with the virus, I just thought it was ironic. Well, I'm trying to look through my Twitter feed and I just found that, Rand Paul being the only person voting against funding, and then 2 weeks later it sort of comes out that he is the first senator to test positive for the said thing that he wasn't, supporting.
Mm.
And there's gonna be other stuff cropping up. It's not just gonna be about wrestling, because to be fair, there ain't a lot of great stuff in wrestling at the minute. Impact
I mean,
has gone back to, oh look, Sammy Callahan's a bad guy. Why should I care?
and he did that knowing full well that he's not doing any matches until this is over with.
I mean,
I
yes,
do
but at
think
the same time, like, is that the best you can do for Shamrock? Like, really?
I mean, the fact that he's reverting back to Solomon Crow is what most people are not talking about.
No, that's the problem. Sammy Callahan just needs to be Sammy Callahan, not any other gimmick. Why else do you think Switchblade works so well in CZW? Switchblade Romance. Him and Mox.
I think it was a missed opportunity to team him up with Ricky Shane Page.
Yeah, but he ain't signed the money with Impact, so.
No.
Also, that means Gregory Owen will be out of a job. And he's perfect in that stable, at least in terms of the GCW. What's it called? H4
440H.
44OH.
I definitely want to talk GCW tonight for sure. It's what I've been watching lately, and I do know of the obviously if you like garbage wrestling or hardcore wrestling or ultra violent wrestling in the early 2000s, you gravitated towards Combat Zone Wrestling, who ironically enough had a show last night that I didn't watch either. I'm not gonna lie, just the production that I saw with like Matt Stryker on commentary and the fact that it looked like an old show from actually looked like something from Reseda, to be quite honest. It looked like a PWG show without a crowd. Had a
Well,
high ceiling and everything.
I'm guessing it was from CZW's dojo, so
You are correct.
that is very much sort of like that. Very similar to how
So
the freelance wrestling show would have been. You know,
and the
in
fact
the back of 1 hour tees.
and apparently Brett Lauderdale's got to deal with a Voltage Lounge,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's in Pennsylvania or El Paso, Texas, or wherever it is. Voltage lounges across the world that just happen to look the same.
Yeah. I love the fact it's what's clearly the same venue you were at the last show that you were legally allowed to do.
I like that show
But at the
actually.
same time, it's like we can't tell you where it is, even though it's like, well, it's obviously the same. They even got a cardboard cut out of Pitbull.
I want to talk about this with the fact that hashtag RIP Pitbull trying to confuse everyone. And then Kyle the Beast coming out with John Cena attached to him hitting AAs during the cluster.
I had enough of that yesterday because they were tweeting about a soccer manager getting sacked because one of the clubs was showing an archive match on their YouTube for like people to watch.
Right.
So I was like, wait, why is this trending? Oh wait, it's trending for something that happened 8 years ago, but is being shown today just to fill time and whatever. So it's just confusing, very
Well,
confusing.
to get into the GCW stuff, which I want to talk about, because this is one of the promotions I am definitely keeping watch on. The line that we have going on right now with Ricky Shane Page and Nick Gage. This is some brilliant storytelling. It really is. And everyone thought Gage was going to win the title back in Atlantic City, and they didn't. And I'm going to guess they were setting it up for WrestleMania weekend for Gage to win the title back. Because I like Ricky Shane Page as a heel. I think he's phenomenal. I love his stable. I love his cronies. I love the fact that they're there at his every beck and call, and they're doing everything they can to just basically stick it to GCW in every way possible. Another thing I'm also really getting into, Ashley, Effie.
Mm-hmm.
Effie is great in every way possible. I really like Matthew Justice.
I'm just um. Oh, who was the British kid that was supposed to be debuting at Spring Break?
Oh, you're talking about the person that worked on night one?
Yeah.
I don't remember his name. I must look it up real quick because I know where it is. Where are you? Come on. You are talking about. No, not him.
Benjamin.
Yes, Benjamin. Benjamin Carter.
That's it. Who somehow is in America on, I guess, some sort of scholarship. Because of course he is.
Yeah, I mean, well, we'll start real quick with talking about the Acid Cup in general. We're bringing up CZW. Um, for me, it was Nick Gage, Nate Hatred as the Hate Club, Trent Acid and Johnny Cashmere for the Backseat Boys, Mark and Jay Briscoe, Justice Payne, Sick Nick Mondo, the Wife Beater, Zandig. These are things that I used to Rick Blade. These are things I used to watch on the regular. And the Acid Cup took place back in 2016. And it's weird looking at this list in 2020, actually, if you really think about it. Some of the names on here are very interesting. Now, we'll talk about the fact that Joey Janela won overall. This was only like a few months after what happened with him and Zandig. And he beat Pinky in the final. Like, this show had a lot of names on it, like B Boy and DJ Z. Here's an interesting one for you, Ashley. The tag title match: Private Party versus the Hit Squad versus Blackout versus the Nation of Intoxication.
Seems a good combo.
Yeah, totally. Lots of people that have moved forward, like Human Tornado and B Boy. A lot of names I've known for a long time for like the SoCal indie scene. B Boy, his time in CZW as well with High Five, the stuff
Mm-hmm.
with the Messiah. I used to watch CZW all the time. So I was a big Trent Acid fan. And when the MDK show in Cleveland had to get canceled, they decided to take the venue that they had and create their own show and bring back the Acid Cup, which I think was brilliant on their part, to be quite honest. And it was a solid show. I really, really enjoyed the show.
Yeah, the first one was like just over 2 hours.
Yeah.
Which, considering it was only, 13, or, eight first round matches, I'd say.
And it's good because it started at 7 p.m. instead of starting at 8 or starting at 9 like the
Mm-hmm.
normal GCW shows do. And thank God there wasn't a stupid intermission in the middle of them either.
Well, there was the weird dance party
We'll
with
get to
Pitbull
that. Don't
performing.
worry. I mean, it felt organic. I enjoyed the presentation of this show. Because anyway, the Voltage Lounge, regardless where it may be, is a tiny venue anyway. And most of the time on GCW shows, you can hear the crowd, but you don't generally see them unless you pan around.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so another thing too is the fact that Lucky 13 came back.
For a one off. Well, two off, I guess, because he was part of night two as well.
I like how he called himself Super Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
I like how he did the curb stomp and the psycho driver on Shane Mercer and he totally no sold it.
Seems legit.
It was good. That first round match was really good with Shane Mercer and Unlucky 13. I actually have gotten to call a Lucky match back when he was called Lucky.
Two through 12 hadn't existed yet.
It was him against Phil Stamper.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic match, by the way. Atticus Kogar was the only representative of the stable from Ricky Shane Page, and he was just treated like absolute garbage the entire time, deservingly so. Solid match with Alley Cat that ended up with Nick Gage interfering and costing him the match.
Things happen.
Now, I don't know how familiar you are with Young, Dumb, and Broke,
I've
but
heard of it.
it's funny because I know Young, Dumb, and Broke from Grim Show, and that's where I know them from. And I knew what to expect with Jordan Oliver and Ellis Taylor, and it was solid. They really made Jordan Oliver on this show, and night two especially.
Yeah, I mean, when he beat Nick Gage, it was like, so they're giving him somewhat of a rub then. They're clearly sort of trying to indicate, this is somebody we're keeping our eye on. I think, was it supposed to be him, Alex Zane, and Osprey in a triple threat, allegedly?
There was no allegedly. That was going to be the match. Joey
Yeah,
basically said so in the
I
commentary.
can't, I can't remember whether it was Oliver or whether it was, Blake Christian. I can't remember.
No, it was
But
Christian.
yeah,
Christian's coronation was beating Joey Janela, and then I thought when I heard about the Acid Cup, it was going to go one of two ways. I thought Gage was going to win, or I thought Christian was going to win, and I was wrong on both. I didn't think about the third person that got totally screwed over because of WrestleMania weekend.
yeah.
But we'll get to him. I like Jimmy Lloyd more and more every day. I think he's just insane, and all the right ways.
Can he not buy another singlet though? Mm.
It's his singlet, it's Alley Cat's gear, and it's Nick Gage's shorts. They all need to be replaced immediately.
Yeah, but Jimmy Lloyd's more so because it's like it has more holes than Swiss cheese.
Well, the funny thing is I always equate him to a younger Jimmy from XPW, so it makes perfect sense. I don't think he would be opposed to me saying that either. It was just a very violent match that Jimmy Lloyd had with Matthew Justice. And then we had Blake Christian, of course, still using his Osprey offense, but it works. It works for him, really.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Dickinson shows up, beats Pinky. That was interesting. Kind of surprised that would happen. The Battle of Pazuzu. They're both wearing the knee pads still. Manders is another one that's kind of somewhat growing on me a little bit too. Him
Yeah,
and
but he
Mance
stood
Warner
no
both.
chance because he was against Gage. So
Yeah, exactly. He was going to lose. And I like it how he literally wrapped the rope around his neck and pile drove him for the win.
mm-hmm.
And then we had our dance party. And then Nick Gage just done the party straight up and ripped Pitbull's head off. So basically, it was announced by Joey Janela that it was supposed to be Chris Statlander and the Great Muta versus himself and Chris Dickinson at Spring Break.
Because that makes sense.
If it were to have been me, I would have teamed Muta with Kimberly and played that up.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about booking Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford. That was entertaining when he was talking about that. And he did mention on GCW commentary for the show prior that there was going to be a cluster that was going to be won out of nowhere by Dave Meltzer,
Apparently.
which I'm good with that.
Well, better than last year's where it ended with nothing because all the women sort of hijacked the show.
Yeah, they hijacked the show and just killed Janela. So we get to Shane Mercer and Kyle the Beast on night two.
Thinking about it, I don't know whether they did that in tribute to the bloody. Oh, what was it called? That terrible show, which was voted the worst promotion of, or the worst show of the year.
Which one?
Oh, I can't remember. Blackcraft Wrestling's No Apologies.
Oh God, the Blackcraft show. Yeah, terrible things about that show.
That one. Which started 2 hours late and then, like, the Battle Royal went 5 minutes because they got kicked out of the building and were basically turning everything off.
Yep.
The women's title match going 25 seconds, and then the heavyweight title being retained or successfully defended in 11 seconds, and then dropped to Matthew Justice after another 9 seconds. The longest match was, I think, the opening match between Schlack and G Raver.
Good lord.
And that was not even 9 minutes, so it was just like, just oof. Just very, very oof. So I don't know whether that ending. Problem is, I think it was around the same time as it, so they wouldn't have known otherwise. So,
Right.
but yeah, that was. I don't know whether that was sort of a tribute to that back last year. It's like, yeah, let's just do something where it gets cut off, supposedly by whatever. But anyway, but yeah, back to the Acid Cup. Mercer and KTB's quarterfinal was pretty solid.
Yeah, it was a good Hoss match
Mm-hmm.
with an out of nowhere finish too.
Um, Justice and Christian was as technical as I thought it would be.
Yeah, and it's another feather in the cap to beat another one of the GCW strong for Christian.
Then Dickinson and Alley Cat was a nice little mix because Alley Cat can go.
She definitely can, and it's just like I don't have a problem with intergender wrestling if it's done correctly. Now, granted, I know Dickinson gets a lot of flack for some of his intergender matches he's had in the past.
Oh,
But
hello, Kimberly.
yeah, but it was good. It was a solid match, and she really took it to Dickinson.
Well, it
It's a
was it was
shame.
it was the Mance Warner match from like a
Oh
month
my God,
ago.
the Mance Warner match.
That one
Yes,
that really sort of made her sort of become. She definitely is a GCW fixture.
her match against Gage was good too. I
And then
kind of wish they would take a look at her somewhere. It's a shame that they can't. I mean, they can easily, but I mean, it's a shame no one is.
of course, Oliver getting the rub on Gage.
That's a big one. I like the way they did it because that was the only way you could possibly have done it. Oliver came out looking like a garbage man, basically.
Garbage day.
Took like the biggest beating of a lifetime. But I liked it because he took a beating, but he still won. So it fits with what Young, Dumb, and Broke are doing anyway.
And then the social
But
distance rules match.
hold on, before we get to that, oh boy, I definitely want to talk about that match for sure. But one of the wink, wink, nod, 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 nudge, inside comments that Joey made on commentary, I had to mention. where they were talking about Pazuzu and they were talking about Dickinson with Proud and Powerful and Jaka and Pinky and talking about that and everything. And I love the fact that Janela on commentary so nonchalantly says, I think he's probably missing Disney right about now. Knowing who he's with makes me laugh hysterically when I hear that. That's one of those things that only maybe 8 people that were watching got it, but they did get it and it was hilarious. Social distancing. Oh my God. I like the chair shots with putting the Lysol wipes on them first. It was basically doing the Invisible Man match with another person.
To some extent, yeah.
I love this so much. And then, of course, the blatant promotion of the Orange Crush magazine covering the screen at all times during the whole show.
Well, they did sponsor the thing.
They did the Canadian Destroyer, and oh my God, it was so good. I like the pinfalls. I like the lockups. This match, if you don't like comedic wrestling, obviously it's not up your alley, but it was totally up mine. Done very, very well. I like it how Joey just literally before he locks up, he's like, I have no idea what we're gonna do here. And it worked. It worked greatly. Is this something you can do on the regular? No. But my God, it was amazing. I like the handshakes too. Gave me animatronicans flashbacks. I like that. So I talked about Grimm's Toy Show. There was somebody that was in the background the entire time. If you ever watch any GTS wrestling, you would know as Dilf Boy Dalton, who got messed up something fierce, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Yes.
So Dickinson and Mercer, another very solid match. Shane Mercer doesn't get enough credit, I don't think. And I really wish Dickinson would get a shot somewhere because he deserves it. At the end of the night, he proved he can be very humble at times too.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly am surprised that WWE would not look at someone like Shane Mercer because of the fact that Blizzard suplex finish that he has, the blockbuster suplex off the top, the assault and battery. That's a phenomenal move that not enough people use. And he's a big man that I'm surprised hasn't had eyes on him yet. Blake Christian and Jordan Oliver put on a clinic, had a extremely fast, anything you can do, I can do better opening that made me really wish I was calling the match.
Then, of course, the
And then we had,
clusterfuck.
yep, which of course involved Pitbull as well.
Well, Pitbull's corpse.
Yep, Pitbull's decapitated corpse.
And John Cena somehow.
Yeah, Kyle the Beast with the John Cena cutout over him doing AAs left and right to everyone. The t-shirt guy was involved. Pinky just cut like 17-hour long promo and didn't do really anything.
The great thing, of course, was Pitbull's corpse nearly won.
Yeah, I totally did.
Got to the final two.
See, I want to talk about Dalton first. Dalton comes in, and it's hilarious that they just. I was reading some of the updates on this match, and they called him like a scrawny guy, which is hilarious if you really think about the fact that Dalton has lost so much weight. And he chops Manders, and Manders just looks at him. Military presses him over the top rope and through a door. Dead.
Seems fair.
Done. So we got down to Pitbull's corpse, and they're about ready to announce the winner. And here comes Nick Gage. He's like, "Nope, that's not happening." Gage was not having any of the comedy stuff whatsoever. During the memoriam to Pitbull, he was just talk about Trent Acid.
Which again is somewhat fair.
Extremely fair. And then the main event, Chris Dickinson wins the Acid Cup, beating Blake Christian in the finals. What a match!
Really, all four of Dickinson's matches were really standout, I'd say.
He's growing on me more as a competitor every time I see him. I wasn't really sold on him right away. I just got to see the a little bit of the stuff he's done here and there, but I didn't really pay attention. Now that I'm paying more attention, I definitely like what he's doing. And I mean, he lost so many opportunities at dream matches, like the match with Minoru Suzuki, and just being able to work with Muda, just like, and he lost so many great opportunities. And it makes me think that when the collective does actually happen, now that we know what was supposed to happen, what's Joey going to have up his sleeve this time? What is GCW going to have up their sleeves this time?
Who? That's always interesting. Always the build when the videos go live at whatever point that they do, and it's like, oh, yeah. I still remember that first time. It was like, so Orange Cassidy is facing Minoru Suzuki.
Oh God, I want to see that match so bad.
It could still happen.
I have a feeling
Maybe
it
they
probably
just send
will.
AEW stars to New Japan.
I mean, there was a comment that was made over the weekend saying something like they're not opposed to working with AEW, but it's not something that's going to happen anytime soon.
At the minute.
Kind of reading between the lines here. If they're going to try to run these shows in the on U.S. soil once or twice a year, they're going to have a little bit more visibility. And I feel like it's a no brainer at this point. They just got to realize that.
So, in terms of what you can see, WWE is putting up matches on the regular, on their YouTube channel
Mm-hmm.
of stuff you can catch up. Obviously, the Manias are on the next few weeks on ESPN.
Right.
AEW obviously doesn't have a lot that they can do. I think that the only thing that I've seen is they're doing a 7-day trial of AEW Plus.
Yeah. And they have 8 matches that were filmed for Dark for the next 2 weeks, including a match with Brandon Cutler and Colt Cabana, which apparently didn't go over too well.
So it will never be seen.
I don't know. And Cabana wasn't very happy with the way it turned out, from what I'm hearing. So, but then again, I haven't seen the match, so I have no idea what they're going to do with it.
So it will probably never be seen. Still. Um, Impact in the last day or so put up Lockdown 2005.
Yep.
Trying to remember what was on that card. So the only one I remember was 07 with that god awful electrified steel cage match. And the blindfold match.
You said Lockdown 2005.
Yeah.
Looking into it right now.
Abyss and AJ. Team Nash and Team Jarrett in Lethal Lockdown.
Oh God, yeah, I remember that.
Daniels versus Elix Skipper. Team Canada and America's Most Wanted. Jeff Hardy Raven. The Escape match with Shocker, Matt Bentley, Sanjay Dutt, and Chris Sabin.
Yep.
Uh, Bobby Roode and Dustin Rhodes before he became Black Rain. Just about. Oh look, Lance Hoyt and Chris Candido.
It's one of Candido's last matches, actually.
Yeah, against Sonny Siaki and Apollo. I don't know whether the pre-show with the Naturals and Free Live Crew and David Young and Lex Lovett was on. So that's what they've got up, but they're probably putting other stuff up anyway.
Wouldn't surprise
Um,
me. They kind of have to at this point.
on the indie front, I know AEW's been putting up a load of stuff.
Right?
Um, Fight Club Pro put up night 2 of their Dream Tag Team Invitational tournament up for free to stream. Um, Attack Pro Wrestling's latest show from last weekend is available for free as an actual purchase. If you basically just go to their page and put in, I think it's in all caps, free sacrifice, or one word. I don't know whether the promotion's still on, so you'd have to check yourselves, everybody. But you can watch that for free, and that's a roughly about 2 hour show, give or take.
Lots
From
going on in independentwrestling.tv, too.
yeah, they're trying to put sort of daily stuff. I know Fight TV's got a 24/7 feed mixing between wrestling as well as the boxing and the MMA and the other combat sports stuff that they do. Um, Trying to think.
New Japan, New Japan World just put up Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah, for free to everybody. Wrestle
Yep.
Kingdom 14 Night 1. Um, I think there's clips going around of that Mexico show in the garbage. Yeah, not the garbage. The scrap yard.
The Zona show.
The Zona show. Yeah.
And you notice NWA also put up the anniversary show with
Yeah, the
Cody
60th
and
anniversary
Aldis.
show they put up in full for free as well.
Yep.
Um,
I got another one, Ashley. You're probably glossing over with Wrestling Retribution Project. Got
yes,
put up
that's
finally.
the one I was trying to build to. Jeff Katz's bloody long lost thing
NWO's Jeff Katz.
shows up from out of nowhere after
Good lord.
about 8 years.
Yeah, pretty much.
The great thing was, oh, I'm trying to get the article up from Fightful. Because yeah, the Kickstarter was 2011, so it would be basically be 8 or 9 years. So yeah, the official statement came on Friday. Public apology for betraying fans and explaining his side of the story, saying that he wanted to have cleaner footage, but with the lockdown, it's not possible at this time. And I'm like, this is stuff was taped 8 or 9 years ago.
Right?
How are you going to get cleaner footage of it?
I mean, it's some interesting stuff.
It doesn't make sense.
It's a lot of very interesting names together, too.
Yeah, most of them will be the names that you don't recognize, you know. But the faces you will. There's MVP, there's Gallows, there's Cabana, there's Alex Reynolds,
Chris
Amazing
Hero.
Red, Dr. Luther, Kenny, Omega, Sammy Callahan, Sean Devari, Mike Rollins, Anderson,
Eli
Joey
Drake.
Ryan, Pat Buck, Kevin Matthews, Timothy Thatcher. A whole host of them.
Sammy Callahan, actually, if you want to go there.
I'll mention that one.
Adam Pearce, Kenny Doane, Cole Cabana.
I mentioned that one as well. There were so many names in it, but not as themselves, so it's hard to
Oh,
find a footy. The only clip that existed was when it was that bit that they used for Wrestling with Regret, when they were talking about, gay portrayals in wrestling,
Chase
and
Walker,
and bringing up the Chase Walker one.
Barry Ryan.
That clip that just existed because Joey Ryan had it. None of the rest have been released, but now it's changed. It only took 8.5 years for
I
this to
watched the
exist.
I watched the first set of 7 matches on this. I haven't got a chance to watch them all yet, but some interesting stuff on these matches. Chris Hero and Timothy Thatcher is the match I'd recommend because it goes about 9 minutes. I do love the fact that Hero's wearing his CH gear, so he had to change his name to Chris Hyde instead of Chris Hero.
But the big stuff at the minute for the most normalcy is Japan. They're sort of starting
Yeah.
to get back into the swing of things. No word on New Japan stuff
Nope.
yet, but Pro Wrestling Noah had their show today in Shizuoka. Dragon Gate had their, I can't remember the name of the show off the top of my head, but their Kobe show,
Mm-hmm.
which the English language version is available for free at the minute,
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
as a sort of acknowledgement of the Western, if you want to call it that, fans watching internationally that are looking for a fix of like wrestling, proper wrestling rather than behind closed doors wrestling.
I, I want to talk about that too. That's another thing that I watched while, because I've been wanting to watch it for a while. I've known of its existence, but I just thought it was the right time since I have nothing else to do and to actually catch up on some things. And I went through and watched all of Dark Side of the Ring.
Oh, the first season?
Yes. So, such great content. There's some really chilling stories in the wrestling business anyway. And I know this, there's like New Jack's going to be on there. And obviously, the one that they're promoting that's going to be, that was released part 1 already, is Chris Benoit, which it's just, oh, wow. That was a heavy one to say the least.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the Von Erichs and Bruiser Brody. And I've heard everything about Montreal, but I mean, it was interesting to get a little bit more of an insight of something we didn't know in the past, so that was nice. I got to look at what season 2 is going to be.
Oh, hang on, I can't remember.
Season 2, please.
I'll be able to tell you, don't worry. From the Variety
Yay!
article. So it starts this Tuesday with the 2-hour Chris Benoit premiere. Of
I've
which
already watched the first
the
hour.
first hour got put up to YouTube. By the
Yep.
way, Vice, thanks for making me having to go through an illegal place because you didn't unregion block it.
Oh, that's not good.
Um, so the thing here, I think it says the other 8 episodes. So in no particular order because I can't remember what order they're being broadcast. We've got the murder of Dino Bravo,
Yes.
the brawl for all,
Correct.
the career of New Jack,
That's going to be an interesting
which
one.
it also encompasses the mass transit situation. Dr. Dave Schultz 2020 interview,
Good Lord.
which led to the assault. The death of Nancy Argentino,
Yeah, that's going to
Snooker's
be a rough one.
girlfriend. The story of the Road Warriors. Herb Abrams' addiction to cocaine and wrestling.
And of course, the most important one for me is Owen Hart.
Yeah, the Owen Hart death situation.
That's gonna that's gonna be a really rough one for me to watch. Really rough one for me to watch. Because anyone that knows that's my namesake.
Mm-hmm.
That's the reason why Sir Owen exists. I wouldn't be surprised if we get something on Rick Rude and Brian Pillman in the near future too. Maybe like a season 3.
Possibly. We'll see how well season 2 does.
The Dynamite Kid would be a good one. Just the British Bulldogs in general.
The big thing
I think season 2 will do fine.
yeah, the big thing I do want to address with people though is in 24 hours or so time, well, a bit later than that, at least as we're going out live.
Mm-hmm.
So Tuesday, March 24th, local time in Japan it'll be 6:30, but in terms of wherever you are in the world it'll be 9:30 in the UK, 5:30 in the morning Eastern, and 2:30 if you're on the West Coast. Kurikan Hall will be having Stardom's beginning of their Cinderella tournament,
Yep.
which I think that's the equivalent of the New Japan Cup, as it's a 16-woman knockout event. I
I believe
think.
so.
Um, Stardom will be streaming it live for free on the Stardom YouTube channel. Of course, there is no Bea Priestley because she's stuck with she's stuck on Animal Crossing. Well, no, not Animal Crossing. Oh, what was it that she was playing and having trouble with? That Osprey was having a go at her for. I can't even remember which game. It won't be archived there. It will just be streamed live for people to watch live. It'll be archived on Stardom World, but it's something for you to see.
Yep.
If you get up normally, East Coast, sort of around 6ish, just get up a little earlier.
I got I got this thing ever since everything started, and my sleeping patterns are all kinds of messed up. So it's like I'm waking up the time I would normally be setting to go to work anyway. So looks like a solid tournament.
Yeah, there's a lot of good names in there. um, yeah. Oh wow, really? Well, there goes my chance of an interesting final. Iwatani and Kimura facing each other in the first round. Well, there goes that idea. Jamie Hayter's still out there though.
Yep. Shall see.
Fans will be allowed entry but will undergo a physical check with their temperature taken. And if anybody is too hot, they will not be allowed in. Free masks. Oh, good. Liger will be back as special guest for the tournament. Yes. Yes. That's what. After what he did at the empty arena show that they did last week or 2 weeks ago. Oh, Liger was just losing his shit.
Fair.
So yeah, it looks as if, at least on the Japanese front, they're starting to wind back into gear for now. Hopefully they have the virus under enough control that they can keep it going in the long run rather than have a second wave of stuff. But yeah, I love the fact how it's now going sort of so post-apocalyptic over here. You know, shops are not being able to put out stock quick enough. I know over here the NHS workers that were trying to get in for produce, at least in one supermarket, couldn't because there was like 1,000 people queuing in the car park, and of course there was no social distancing. Maybe they should have watched the Janela Jimmy Lloyd match. They'd have learned. Keep a distance. Don't
Everyone needs to
congregate
watch that
in
match.
don't congregate in bloody crowds. And then literally only a few days after free hot drinks for emergency service workers and NHS workers, everybody is losing their shit because in less than 24 hours time, McDonald's is closing.
I saw that. That makes me realize that
all I'm
I
seeing is
have to go
McFlurry,
now.
Big Mac, Egg McMuffin. Everybody trying to work out what their order is for the last day.
So what you're telling me is if anything proceeds here, then me sitting on my hands waiting to treat myself to McDonald's one time, something I need to do sooner rather than later.
Maybe. I've still got my stash of those 3 packets of the Big Mac sauce that I had anyway.
I haven't had any Ashley content in a minute, so eventually that will happen.
Yeah, I've got to get around to that, work out what I've got to do and whatever. So the thing I wanted to talk about is the movie situation.
I figure that's where we're going.
Because of course the big news is the number 1 film. Oh, they haven't even bothered to put them up. I was trying to get the box office figures for the weekend, and they haven't bothered to put them up.
They're not up yet?
We just have the accurate figures that the top 10 movies in America last Thursday grossed a combined $142,000.
Terrible.
Of which 2 very small release films saw a 100% drop in box office. And like
I mean,
Jojo Rabbit only took $18.
gee, $18?
Yep. Ford versus Ferrari took 40. Gentleman took 96. Frozen 2 took 117. Knives Out took like 200. 225 for 1917. Just Mercy with about 343. Doolittle with 400. Spies in Disguise. Star Wars
This
Rise of
isn't
Skywalker.
thousands. This is literally dollars.
Nah, yeah. Well, we're getting into hundreds of dollars. It's sort of there's a big jump from Emma, period, At number 12 with like about 850 to Birds of Prey, which took about 3,600. But it
Although
sort
the
of it,
theaters are closed.
it fell off a cliff, you know.
Theaters are closed. You can't watch them anywhere.
Yeah,
That's why everything's being released digitally.
and that's what I wanted to bring up because I think that the tactic that they're doing, while sensible, is stupid at the same time. Yes, it makes sense for these new films that you're trying to you sort of make some money on.
Right.
Have them release early because they're not going to get in the cinema, and you know if when cinemas open again in let's say 3 months' time,
Mm,
they can't put on just new films. When you think about it, they're going to have to put
no.
on a catalogue of something rather than just the new releases. Because if you release all the new films the same week, that's going to be problematic. Um, in which case, the great thing is the one that I wanted to see, Misbehavior about the Miss World thing, was on for a few days and then just disappeared, and it hasn't come out yet. So the only one that I sort of can't catch. So I also didn't manage to catch Invisible Man, but lo and behold, Universal, who were the first to sort of move on this, decided to do this whole we're releasing it early as a rental.
Right.
Except it's $20. Or over here, 15.99.
To be fair, if you're going to go to the cinema and you don't have any sort of program where your tickets or anything like that, if you get a ticket and then buy a concession item, you're going to spend more money than that.
Well, Jason Bloom's argument was the average price of a ticket is $12.
He's not wrong.
So if two of you are watching it, it's cheaper.
Yeah.
Mr. Blum, sir, my local cinema is showing them for $5. So it would be cheaper for me to go to an empty cinema, even though it's not open, and watch it for 10 rather than pay 16 for the privilege of probably not getting the virus.
And of course, we have our video review of Bloodshot and The Hunt, which are
Mm-hmm.
on the network right now from yesterday's video.
That's just my honest issue. You know, when you look at the price of rentals normally, they're sort
Mm,
of like, 350, 450, occasionally 550 for whatever
right.
reason. I would have no objections if a rental cost 10.
That's not terrible.
If a rental costs 10 or, for your equivalent $12, the price that a cinema
Mm,
ticket would be, because in theory, um, in terms of distribution, you'd have thought the film companies would get more of a cut off digital than they would at the cinema chains.
it depends on how you look at it.
Um, so the fact that I can let's say I can buy Frozen 2 in standard
Right.
def on Amazon for £10. HD, I think it's 13 or 14, whatever.
Okay.
It's the same price for the one that's also got like 3 hours of bonus features as well, but that's clearly whatever deal that Amazon's got on whatever. If it was a situation where like with sorry, you can't watch it with that, but that's what the pre-order price is on for Onward on Amazon.
Right.
I would not object to Onward being there for something as the kids to watch. Because I don't. Is it on Google Plus? Not Disney Plus. Sorry, I can't remember.
It will be.
Yeah, but whether that'll be Disney Plus everywhere, I don't know. Because if it is, with the launch offer that they've got going on here, that's a pretty good deal. But then at the same time, it's like, if Birds of Prey is going to be sort of 16, I think it'd do much better if it was the same price that a purchase would be.
I see where you're coming from.
You know, you're getting the chance to see it, quote unquote, early on home media because of
Mhm.
circumstances,
Right.
but it still means that it's not. There's more likelihood that there'll be more sales, so they, because I would say a lot of people that I've seen are put off by the price level.
Well, yeah, of course. Right now, people don't want to spend much money at all because they don't know where the paycheck's coming from.
Yeah. So asking them to put down as much as $20 for a movie, whereas if they wait 6 months, it might be on Netflix, which they might still be able to afford to get. I don't know. I just feel that is the problem there, and that the studios need to be more respectful of that. Those that choose to sort of release it early rather than postpone it, sort of kick it into the long grass sort of thing. Because
It's an interesting situation.
it's always that awkward. It's always that awkward problem. Especially and another situation that's happened over here. One of the cinema chains has laid off its staff.
That's been happening a lot with a lot of the companies over here, but it's mainly so far been more just restaurants.
No, but I'm talking like one of the big ones. It's one of the ones that's in financial trouble as well. Cineworld and its sister slash independent company that it bought up, Picture House, where people are being laid off and they have to reapply for their jobs when it comes back round,
Right.
which isn't great.
I mean, a lot of restaurants have laid off their employees because they are able to collect unemployment that way,
Yeah,
or they put their employees on still employed, but that means they can't apply for unemployment.
yeah. Well, I know there's sort of things being over here that have been set by the Chancellor and the Prime Minister and government at large and whatever, at least
Right.
in the UK. But even with that, quite a few of these are still having the issues of laying off staff because they don't want to pay them sick pay or the equivalent of. They prefer to pay them nothing. Of course, the irony is most of these are companies that have a lot of money. In the case of Cineworld, given how their share price has gone overall, like that way, sort of like WWE, but to an extent where it went really low for them. If I can get, I don't know if I can get the share price up for them. I know it's been sort of in pennies rather than pounds. Oh wow, it's in the last day. Is that today or is that Friday? No, from Friday. So Friday they closed at sort of about 50 pence a share.
No.
The thing is, that is before the news came out over the weekend that their staff have been laid off, and it's not putting them in a positive light. They were down at the start of the week because last week, because the situation with them was they just bought, oh, was it Regal
I don't think so.
in America? Yeah, they bought Regal. Cineworld got owned by, or bought by, sorry, Regal got bought by Cineworld.
That's weird because Regal is a pretty big company, and I don't.
Yes, because Cineworld wants to be, well, with that purchase, Cineworld became the second largest cinema chain in the world.
Which makes sense.
Because they got a lot of places also in Europe and Canada. But yeah, the year high for them was somewhere in the region of £3.20, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
So they've lost like 80% of their value over the last 12 months. Because I'm trying to remember what the something to do with the money that they got from loans in order to do the Regal purchase had to be
Mm-hmm.
had to be refinanced. So it's like despite the fact they took £4 billion in terms of revenue, apparently they're sort of struggling, which is always good.
I'm
So
just noticing this now. That's interesting. Was not aware of the
yeah,
merger.
that's why Regal had all its facelift and everything. I think it coincided with it.
With me leaving, of course. How appropriate.
It coincided with it and all that. I know the one cinema near me was one of the last ones to not shut. Monday it was like View Cinemas closed, Cineworld closed, Odeon closed, the Independents, or my local independent one closed. And the Empire Cinema was like standing tall and staying open. And then about a day and a half later, it was like, no, we're shutting. Upon the advice of everything, and cafes are beginning to close around here. Well, sorry, have closed. Pubs as well. They can still do takeaway food that
Yeah, most restaurants are either going to be you can take out or you can drive through.
unless it's McDonald's. Yes.
I hope that doesn't follow suit here. I've been
The,
craving
the
McDonald's
the
something
issue with
fierce
that over
lately.
here is McDonald's is to some extent for some people affordable, whereas some of these probably more local pubs and restaurants that are going to be doing takeaway food
Mm.
really aren't.
You got Uber Eats and DoorDash and Grubhub and things like that are going to make out some money from this as well.
Yeah, be interesting to see what happens there, and gradually the shops are being closed. I know there was a big kerfuffle over GameStop over there, saying that if police came to try and shut them, they had to say that they were an essential retailer, and that they could give the police officers the phone line to head office, so they communicate with them. And it's like, yeah, not so much. Ever so slightly, not so much. And all that. I mean, it's somewhat, well, it's serious everywhere or over the world. There's obviously people that are more effective with it right now, and if you are there in the world, please stay safe.
Mm.
Keep your social distance. Hashtag social distance.
I
Um,
I still run,
yeah.
but I stay far away from everyone. They closed hotels around here, the ones that I normally run at. So I've had to run around, basically run past the hotels and everything,
Hmm.
because that's my running path now for the foreseeable future. Because they officially announced that Star Wars Rival Run got canceled for next month, so the next Run Disney race is not going to be until after Horror Nights.
Blimey, so. And then, of course, in the long run, who knows what's happening with that? Depending how long it takes for all this to resolve itself.
We're it's a
I
wait and
was
see
gonna
right
say
now,
blow
but
over, but if you've
yeah,
seen that clip that Peg and Frost did,
it's
parodying
wait and
Short of a
see.
Dead, it was like, that's appropriate.
I mean, we've got to do auditions. I mean, I don't think that there's going to be a cancellation or anything, or they can't postpone. So I don't think that's even a thought in anybody's mind, even though Twitter is really annoying me, trying to make me think that it's not going to happen.
Also, the one thing I remember, which makes it even more weird, um, just looking at the film website now, my local, one of my local multiplexes is doing the same situation that you had at your local, Owen. They are switching from the big P to the big double C.
No, stop it. Stop it. It's bad enough that when my Hard Rock Cafe reopens, it's going to have Coke instead. And I'm still upset about that. There is only one place on Universal property I can get Pepsi after we reopen. Looks like I'll be going there more often then.
It was an interesting situation.
Yeah.
Um, Trying to think of the other stuff. I mean, it's good to see how people have been sort of adjusting as much as possible. I
Mm-hmm.
know the Met Opera that normally had their sort of cinema broadcasts have been streaming live for free um, on their site.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at least over here in the UK, Audible has made a number of children's and teens audiobooks available to stream for free. Sadly, you can't get them for free because that would be too easy because it's Amazon. But people are adapting and doing what they can. Then again, you still get the idiots, the spring breakers, sort of not caring. The people over here that are sort of queuing up in droves, as I previously mentioned, with the shops or, in the bars and even to some extent now the beaches. Even some people going, sort of, I guess, the equivalent with the spring breakers for you, Owen, would be the people sort of going to the holiday destinations
I hate people who do
earlier.
this crap. It's so stupid.
Obviously, because they can't travel abroad, they're sort of traveling to within the country. And it's like some of these places are, despite the warnings, I saw one where it was like the beach is closed to car parking, and there's a load of cars parked on the beach.
I mean, you're not going to stop people that are determined to do something. You really won't. These are these idiots that decide they want to shoot guns into a hurricane, into a tornado. It's just it's gonna happen regardless. We gotta know what. we can do to just offset these idiots that don't know what they're doing and just forget about them, let them get passed by, and then we all can move on as a nation, go back to normal, get the parks open back up again, and just go back to a little bit of normalcy. I love being home. Don't get me wrong, I do. I've been asking for this for a long time. I've needed a vacation, as everybody around me knows, but not like this, number one. And I'm so bored. There's so many things I need to do, I should be doing. I just don't have any interest in doing anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to run tomorrow, which tomorrow finally. And this is something I've been wanting to do for a while. But the thing is, it's just like, then what? I come home, I'm sitting in this chair doing absolutely nothing.
Which is why this happened.
And then at 7 o'clock, I'll do my workout, and that's gonna.
Yeah, it's weird, but I think we're all making it through.
Slowly but surely. And don't forget, we're only a couple months away from we're going to be starting award season again.
How the hell are we going to do that? No can.
It's going to be a lot of
Berlin's not
guests
going to be in.
here.
Berlin's going to be sort of a very much an outlier because I don't think anything from that is going to be relevant. I would
Right?
argue. Um, I'm wondering whether the museum's going to open in December now for the
Who
academy
knows?
that they were pushing last time.
Right.
A lot of people
Lots
will
of
be going. I
uncertainty.
don't want to go there. Tom Hanks introduced it, and he has got the thing. So
I guess there's really not much else to say.
yeah,
Will we be back next Sunday? Shoot for it.
yeah. We'll try and do it at least for obviously this week because we've already done a load of it, and for next week, the week after because of all the WrestleMania stuff. Who knows? We might do sort of watch along style reactions to it.
God, I don't want to watch WrestleMania. I just don't care that much. I'm bored, but I'm not that bored.
I'm just noticing Kevin Kelly tweeting coming soon to New Japan. I got to add English commentary to Devitt versus Omega from 9 years ago.
So that's an interesting thing to bring up. The venue that I got my start in, the City Park Pavilion,
Mm-hmm.
had an NWA anniversary. And on that NWA anniversary was Fergal Devitt.
Uh oh.
Hold on. I'm going to tell you some of the very interesting names that have been in that venue that I started out in. This was the 55th anniversary show in 2003. Good Lord. Spider defeated Fergal Devitt for the NWA British Commonwealth Heavyweight Championship. That happened.
Oh, that's good news from Cheap Ass Gamer. GameStop currently has no way of getting your in-store pre-orders processed if you only partially paid, while their stores are only curbside pickup.
Wow.
So what happens to them?
Yeah, I think that's our show.
Oh, good. Oh, good. They finally did it. They finally apparently did it. Breaking news. Riddick Moss finally doesn't have the 24/7 title anymore.
Yeah, I saw they gave Braun
R-Truth
Killing
got
the
it
title back.
back.
Yeah. This is my level here. That's all I need to say. Ashley content will be back in droves in the near future. Don't know exactly what that's going to end up being, but it's going to be something.
Yeah. There's some
I
food
will.
and drink stuff in the works. There's some possibly some gaming stuff. I still need to do that thing that I was going to do. I have more of a reason to because the thing that I wanted to cover won another Game of the Year award from out of nowhere at the well, that was probably spoilers if you look into it, but the GDC awards that because this past week would have been GDC, the Game Developers Conference. So they still announced who won the awards and everything, but obviously there was no ceremony about it.
AJ's got more content coming than you guys could ever imagine in the near future. Lots of new verses, potentially some segments coming to the network, a lot of AJ content. I've got 7 more days of Voices of Liberty content. I'm kind of trying to keep so I don't put it out because once it's gone, I got nothing else. And I won't be back on the red circle for who knows how I can.
Yeah, there won't be any Voices of Liberty. There won't be any sort of sip and snack really, because I don't even know how much there is at your grocery stores and whatever that you haven't tried.
I've got 5 things for sip and snack, and I'm going to add a couple more to that when I get to 7-Eleven, potentially tomorrow. I need to get a hold of that Dr. Pepper cream soda.
That's trending over here as well. I don't know why. The
It
number one
sounds
trend in
amazing,
the
so I'm looking
UK
forward to it.
apparently is Dr. Pepper. I don't know why.
Well, that's our show. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight and chatting with us for a few minutes. If you like what you're hearing, then feel free to leave us a comment. And if not, then thank you for joining us for tonight. We appreciate you checking us out, listening to us talk about wrestling, and also a little bit of what's going on in the world at large, even though I try to stay
Yeah,
completely away from politics as much as
there's
I can.
probably going to have to be some of that in every show if we are going to go sort of 2 hours. Of course, we could go shorter
Yep,
because it's like previously it was like there was so much we talked about the shows went long
yep.
because
3 to 4 hours every week.
because so much of it is not happening or very limited happening. It becomes a case of sort of signal boosting like the archive stuff and the stuff that is sort of going live, like we did with the Stardom and the Attack and the I guess the Fight Club Pro will be archived because it was from the DTTI from roughly 12 months ago. But either way, we're trying to be there as something for all you watching, even if it isn't live and you just catching us by archive. Those of you that normally watch us.
Hopefully, you'll come back.
So with that is all that, and I keep saying that because that is the end of the stream. I was gonna say something about saying that or something of that end, but I can't be asked.